Meditation on the Six Consciousnesses. Sariputra then rose from his seat, prostrated himself with his head at the feet of the Buddha, and declared, "In former eons, the sight perception of my mind was already pure and clean, and in my subsequent incarnations, as countless as the sands in the Ganges, I could see without hindrance through all things, either on a worldly or supermundane plane. One day I met on the road the two brothers Kasyapa, who were both preaching the doctrine of causality, and after listening to them, my mind awakened to the truth, and thereby became extensive and boundless. I then left home to follow the Buddha and achieve perfect sight perception, thereby acquiring fearlessness, attaining arhatship, and qualifying as the Buddha's elder son, born from the Buddha's mouth and by transformation of the Dharma. As the Buddha now asks about the best means of perfection, according to my personal experience, the best consists in realizing the most illuminating knowledge by means of the mind's radiant sight perception." Samantabhadra Bodhisattva then rose from his seat, prostrated himself with his head at the feet of the Buddha, and declared, "I was already a son of the Dharma king, when, formerly, I was with the Tathagatas, who were countless as the sands in the Ganges. All the Buddhas in the 10 directions who teach their disciples to plant bodhisattva roots urge them to practice Samantabhadra deeds, which are called after my name. World-honored one, I always use my mind to listen in order to distinguish the variety of views held by living beings. If, in a place separated from here by a number of worlds as countless as the sands in the Ganges, a living being practices Samantabhadra deeds, I mount at once a 6-tusked elephant and reproduce myself in 100 and 1,000 apparitions to come to his aid. Even if he is unable to see me because of his great karmic obstruction, I secretly lay my hand on his head to protect and comfort him so that he can succeed." As the Buddha now asks about the best means of perfection, according to my personal experience, the best consists in hearing with the mind, which leads to non-discriminative discernment. Sundarananda then rose from his seat, prostrated himself with his head at the feet of the Buddha, and declared, "When I left home to follow the Buddha, although fully ordained, I failed to realize the state of samadhi because my mind was always unsettled. I was, therefore, unable to reach the condition beyond the stream of transmigration. The world-honored one then taught me, and Kaustila, to fix the mind on the tip of the nose. I started this meditation, and some 3 weeks later, I saw that the breath that went in and out of my nostrils was like smoke. Inwardly, both body and mind were clear, and I looked through the external world, which became a pure emptiness, like crystal everywhere. The smoke gradually disappeared, and my breath became white. As my mind opened, I achieved the state beyond the stream of transmigration. Both my in and out breaths, now bright, illumined the 10 directions, so that I attained the Arhat stage. The world-honored one prophesied that I would win enlightenment. As he now asks about the best means of perfection, according to my personal experience, the best is to eliminate breath, which will then turn radiant, ensuring the attainment of the stage of perfection beyond the stream of transmigration." Purnamaitrayani Putra then rose from his seat, prostrated himself with his head at the feet of the Buddha, and declared, "In former eons, my power of speech was unhindered, and I preached the doctrine of misery and unreality, thereby penetrating deep into the absolute reality. I also expounded in the assembly the Tathagata's Dharma doors to enlightenment as uncountable as sands in the Ganges, and thereby won fearlessness. The world-honored one knew that I had acquired the great power of speech, and taught me how to perform the Buddha work by preaching. There, in his presence, I assisted him in turning the wheel of the law, and since I could give the lion's roar, I attained arhatship. He sealed my unexcelled skill in expounding the Dharma. As he now asks about the best means of perfection, according to my opinion, the best consists in employing the Dharma voice to subdue the enmity of Mara and to stop the stream of transmigration. Upali then rose from his seat, prostrated himself with his head at the feet of the Buddha, and declared, I personally accompanied the Buddha, and we climbed the city wall to flee from home. With my own eyes I saw how he endured hardship in his practice during the first 6 years of ascetic life, subdued all demons, overcame heretics, and freed himself from worldly desires and all impure efflux from the mind. He personally taught me discipline, according to the 3,000 regulations and 80,000 lines of conduct, which purified all my innate and conventional subtle karmas. As my body and mind were in the nirvanic state, I attained arhatship, and the Tathagata sealed my mind because of my strict observance of discipline and control of body. I am now a pillar of discipline in this assembly, and am regarded as the foremost disciple. As the Buddha now asks about the best means of perfection, in my opinion, the best consists in disciplining the body so that it can free itself from all restraints, and then in disciplining the mind so that it can be all-pervading, which results in the freedom of both body and mind. Mahamalgayayana then rose from his seat, prostrated himself with his head at the feet of the Buddha, and declared, One day, as I was begging for food in the street, I met the 3 Kasyapa brothers, Uruvela, Gaya, and Nadi, who preached the profound doctrine of causality taught by the Tathagata. Suddenly my mind opened and became all-pervading. Then the Tathagata gave me a monk's robe, and when I wore it, my hair and beard fell out. I rambled in the 10 directions and met no obstruction. I thus acquired transcendental power, which proved the foremost and led to my attainment of arhatship. Not only the world-honored one, but all the Tathagatas in the 10 directions praised my supernatural powers, which were perfect, pure, sovereign, and fearless. As the Buddha now asks about the best means of perfection, in my opinion, the best consists of returning to stillness, to allow the light of the mind to appear, just as muddy water, by settling, becomes pure and clean as crystal.